What's up guys, Mixed by Jocelyn here, back with another video of Mixed Up, and today is part 3 of my mixing series from start to finish. And today we're going to be looking at the bass and how we can mix that into the track and get that perfect glue between the kick and the bass that everyone's always after. Let's go. Boom. Okay, cool. So, little reminder, if you haven't watched part 1 and part 2 yet, then they will be linked below. You want to check those out. We're doing this in order. There's a particular system and setup that we're doing, as we all know we need when it comes to mixing. So make sure you check those out and subscribe if you haven't yet for all of the updates on this series. But today we're going to be looking at the bass and the bass only. So it might be a shorter video today because I just want to really just home in on it and just give you guys the information that you need, and maybe not try to like overbear you with lots of different techniques and etc. Because really and truthfully, my opinion when it comes to mixing bass, less is more. Make it simple, you know, let's not overcook it, and let's just really get it nice, tight and big and punchy. So this tune is an Amapiano tune by Notes and Toby from the Sidemen. So we're gonna have like a log bass to look at today. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna find a section of the song where both basses are playing, because as you can see there's 2 different bass lines here, and we're going to just bring them up and find the volume, and then we're going to mix in. So let's get the first one up and let's start blending in. With Amapiano, the log bass is very prominent in the genre. It's really what brings the pace. It almost is acting like a kick. It's giving you that punchy feeling because, as I said, they tend to sort of lower the kick slightly in this genre and not have it as prominent as in like a genre like hip hop or something like that. So we're gonna get it to where it needs to be. Okay, that's sounding good. And then we're gonna solo it, and as always, we're gonna top and tail with our EQ. We're using the stock Logic for this. This is the one instrument that I can really dedicate to the low end. We'll see what we can remove from the top. Remove too much and then just bring back until where you feel like your ear is getting rounded, you're getting the air in, and you're encapsulating everything that you want from the bass. So for me, about 6K sounding good. A log drum does take up a big span of the frequency, so you're not going to want to cut too much away from it, because again, it's one of the key instruments that really like bring the pace and the vibe to Amapiano. And from there, we're going to want to use a bit of compression on it. We're going to want to compress it, just getting all of those notes at the forefront of it and kind of equal so we can really feel it and it's pulsating. What we're going to use is the Pro C2 for this. And I'm gonna wanna basically, I'm looking for about 3 dB of compression just to sort of like tuck it in and then maybe sculpt it a little bit using the attack and release. So I'm gonna lower this ratio to 3 dB. Or around there. And basically I'm just looking for like an average, like most of the hits to float around, which it is around that 3 dB. I'm just gonna lower the threshold just a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the attack relatively fast so it grabs it, and I'm going to lower the release a little bit as well because I want it to be quite pumpy, I want it to be quite fast. The transients are very quick in this log drum. We're getting a little bit of digital distortion there, so I'm just going to try and pull back the attack and see if it is the compression that's giving us that digital distortion, or if it's in the sound, which to me it sounds like it's in the sound, maybe a bit of saturation that the producer added to it. Okay, that's nice. Then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna unsolo it and just check how it's sounding in the mix. I actually want a bit more volume off on it, so I'm going to turn off the auto gain and I'm going to gain it myself. So from there, this is where we're gonna try and just add our glue. Where the kicks are hitting and the log drum's hitting at the same time, basically what all that energy is gonna peak our stereo out and gonna cause clipping and things like that. And it's gonna damage our chances of getting like a lot of volume out of the mix. So I'm going to use a technique that I have a whole video on with Soothe 2, where I add Soothe 2 to it. And if you remember in the last video, we set up a bus to be able to send that signal from our kick drum where we EQ'd it to Soothe 2. So it's just going to be ducking that kick from the loop. So if we look here, so we need to add the EQ, apologies. We added the EQ on our parallel kick drum, but we just need to add the same EQ to it. So we're gonna do a low cut and roll everything up to about just before 100 hertz. So we're not getting any of the other sounds from those loops coming through. It's just the sound of the kick drum from the loop. Obviously, if you had the separate stem and it was just the kick, you wouldn't need to do that. You know, you're only going to be picking up the kick. We're having to sort of like narrow and trim off everything that we don't want being sent to Soothe. Otherwise, we're going to have all of this where the snare's hitting and stuff like that also being ducked up in that frequency. We're just really looking to get the low end frequencies to dip just a little bit when the kick hits, so we're not getting that extreme peak hitting our master output. So again, we're going to lower this to probably around 200 hertz. So now it's only going to be affecting this range in Soothe 2. We're going to add the side chain. So we go to our buses and we find the bus that we made for it, bus 7, and we are going to turn sidechain on, and we're going to turn it to hard because I really do want it to dip, and we're going to make it as fast as possible with a slow release just to let it gradually peak up to give it a bit of time. We don't really want it to be noticeable, so we're going quite quickly with it, and we'll just hear how that sounds. So we need a bit more depth. Go a little bit sharper as well, and we're going to send a bit more of the signal as well. You can see every time the kick's hitting, it's basically reacting to that and cutting that and removing it from our bass. Just that low end as well, so we're not losing any like feeling from the bass. It's not like we're trying to create a EDM sort of like ducking noise. It's just like a subtle like removing just to give us a bit of space and help us with our headroom. And all of this isn't being reacted to it because it's only in this band that we're looking at the reaction from Soothe 2. That's basically where you set it. It's almost like the EQ of Soothe 2. It's sounding nice. I want to add just a little bit of saturation to it just to give it a little bit of grit, a little bit of body, and maybe get a little bit more volume out of it if we need it. So I like to use Black Box on the bass sometimes. We'll set this to low and we'll open it up and we'll just start tweaking until we start to get that nice saturation sound from it. Add a bit of air, see if we can pick up any of that top frequency. Presence is really coming there. We are peaking a little bit, so I'm going to turn it down a touch. And that's sounding good. Okay, nice. And then we're going to move on to our second log drum and see how that plays in and how we might need to affect it to work together. Okay, so they're really bouncing off of each other. So what I would do here is, you know, similar sound, but a bit more of a lower frequency. I'm going to just take the channel strip here and use this as my starting block with this bass as well. The Black Box. And then I'm just going to open up the EQ and make an adjustment to the EQ because it's at a lot lower frequency span, so I can tuck it in. And this is really trying to just like hit those low ends. So we're definitely going to want Soothe 2 reacting to it. We're going to need to refine the bus. So now you can see it's not reacting because the kick's not playing, but as soon as you start playing that in, it's going to start reacting to it. Just adjust. I don't want as much saturation on this because it's kind of aggressive anyway. Play in with the rest of the mix. And I actually want it to be a bit tighter, so I'm gonna tighten up the release a little bit as well. And give it a little bit more compression. Just so it feels a bit more narrow, a little bit more compressed, a little bit tighter. I'm just going to duck the lower one just slightly. And what that's doing is it's just giving us a slight difference in the two basses and creating more of a bounce, which I think maybe the producer was trying to achieve. Okay, that's sounding good. I might be adding some sort of like bus compression effects later on once we start bringing in the rest of the instrumentation. I want to sort of feel how those sounds that we're going to be adding in here relay to the bass and what they do and what frequencies they're taking up. But that is basically the bass mixing for this part of the mixing series. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you have, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, as always, leave them in the comments below, or you can send me a DM on Instagram. I'm at Mix by Jocelyn on Instagram. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe. But as I said, we're going to be releasing videos like this weekly, and this is part 3 of what's probably going to be a part 6, part 7 mixing from start to finish series. So that being said, I will catch you guys in the next one. Safe.